A Sunni Traveler and a Dog by Intan Andini. The sky was dark and many people had already closed their shops in the market downtown. An old shoemaker decided to close his shop after looking out of his window, seeing the city lights brightly shone along the streets. He was gathering his belongings when he heard noise before his shop door. He came out and saw two little boys shouted out, "Dirty creature! Go away, you little mongrel!" The boys threw a puppy with stones. Naughty boys! They kept throwing the stones, making the poor puppy bleed it. The shoemaker grabbed one of the boys' hand. They turned to him, surprised and frightened. They had been caught hurting a dog. A little did they feel guilty now as they looked into the eyes of the shoemaker. Tears almost fell off the boys' eyes. The idea crossed their mind that the shoemaker must be willing to hit them for being such bad boys. The shoemaker was moved. He smiled at them. "A little friend is bleeding," he said, referring to the poor, furry creature who weakly barked, seeking for help. He took it with his free hand while his other hand still holding one of the boys. "Let's take good care of it." He invited the boys to come into his shop, and they obediently followed him. The boys watched the old man cleaning the blood off the poor dog's head and gave some treatments to cure it. They could hear the tiny creature grunts in pain. Indeed, it must be hurt. The boys suddenly felt sorry for what they had done. As the shoemaker finished taking care of the little dog, he washed his hands with water, and at some point he used sand in the process, before washing his hands again with water. He then handed over to the small boys with 2 glasses of tea for each of them. He smiled. "Boys, would you like to hear a story?" The boys were confused. Albeit the shoemaker scared them, they nodded silently. Then the shoemaker started telling them a story. A Sunni traveler walked on a journey to a majlis and passed the forest before dawn. When it was time to pray subuh, he went around and around looking for a river to wash himself. Unexpectedly, a little puppy was following him. The Sunni traveler was a religious man. In Islam, dog is an animal that we have to stay away from. Hence, he tried to tell the puppy to go, but it was still there, unmoved. He dared not throw in a stone because the puppy would get hurt, so he picked a long enough branch off the tree nearby before hitting on the puppy's head lightly. The puppy barked a few times and swayed its tail excitedly before turning to go. The next day in the evening, the Sunni traveler is on his way home through the forest after studying at majlis. When he walks around looking for a river to wash himself to pray Asha, he sees a little puppy is up to him. Its funny fur reminds him of the same puppy which followed him at dawn. He tries to chase the puppy away, but it stays motionless. So he picks up a branch from the ground and hit the puppy's head lightly. It barks a few times and sways its tail excitedly, then turns around and goes away. The next morning, the Sunni traveler passes the same forest to reach his majlis. He hums himself a cheerful melody and sightseeing. He needs not to stop for a prayer. Hence, he doesn't realize the same puppy following him yesterday, a stray and abandoned one, sniffs and sways its tail in delight, happy to meet him again. Not long after he reaches the majlis gate, people start running around and shouting, "A dog! There's a dog! How did it get here? Oh no, it's dirty! Don't let the dog come in!" in bewilderment. The Sunni traveler sees his man grab a stick and pad over to the puppy, their hands hold high, ready to strike. But anger is everything that takes over his consciousness when he sees some people throw the puppy with rocks. The innocent puppy is howling in pain, trying to escape but fails miserably. Very great of people trap him in the middle. Stop! The dog is bleeding. You are hurting him. The Sunni traveler steps forward and faces his man. His voice is shaking, but he managed to spread his arms open for defending his tiny fragile friend. He stands before the puppy protectively. One of the men in front of him yells, "Why are you bringing your dog to the sacred place? Dog and swine is forbidden to be a company." It's not your fault, nor is the dog's, says a wise man from the crowd trying to calm everyone down. You meet each other because you have to, but unfortunately, we can't let the dog stay here. The wise man offers a bowl of water to the puppy, who drinks it greedily. What did you do yesterday to chase him away? I used a branch and hit it lightly on his head. The Sunni traveler looks around to find some, but his wise company passes him a grill pan. As the dog finishes drinking, the Sunni traveler takes the grill and hits behind the puppy's ear lightly by the feather. He barks a few times and sways its tail excitedly. As he turns to go, people move aside to give it a way out to the gate. Since then, the Sunni traveler realizes that the puppy must have recognized him. Every time he passes the forest for commuting, he always sees the puppy awaiting under the tree, which signed the first meeting to walk him to the majlis. The Sunni traveler doesn't mind at all. He always has his quill pen ready inside his pocket to kindly hit his tiny friend's head as a sign for the dog to leave. Despite his faith forbids him to touch dog, his heart is delight for having a strongly warm and sincere bond with a puppy. The Sunni traveler believes that, as a Muslim, it is our obligation to be aware that everything in this world, human, animals, plants, trees, our environment is belong to the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, we are not allowed to hurt our fellow people, animals, plants and trees, as well as to cause any damage to the environment. They are not ours to possess, and we have the obligation to take care and protect them. Dogs, animals that are considered to be dirty, and some people say that we are forbidden to touch, in the name of humanity, they have right to be treated nicely as an innocent God's creature. It is breathtakingly beautiful to see that we have a company from our fellow men and have another one from nature. The world will be a better place when we love each other and live in harmony.